here we go. What I said I needed to do is to cut a hole all the way through this, okay? So the next, I guess, problem with that is that while some people might have a drill around their house, some people might even have drill bits around their house, most people, unless you need it for something specific, are not going to have concrete drill bits at their house. So you see the end on that, the difference there, how it sticks out at the end? So that's a concrete bit. They're trying to tell me that it really is kind of diamond coated on the end that cuts through this concrete. But I have different bits. I'm going to show you a little bit of at least what I like to do. It's not really a secret, but I don't drill. That's the size hole that I need eventually. It's 3/4, but that 3/4 is inside diameter. So it actually is the outside is closer to 1, but not quite. This is a 1-inch bit. If I could find a 7/8, it would be great, but they don't make one. But this is perfect because it's going to give me a nice snug fit like I want. But what I'm telling you is that if I use that first, it's a lot more effort to cut that hole through there. So what I like to do is drill a hole that's small and get progressively larger until I get to the right size. The other thing with using concrete drill bits, remember, if you're not doing this yourself, you need to know so you can tell your people, right? The other thing is that when I use this big one here, instead of a nice smooth hole, it's going to chip around the top and at the bottom when it comes out. If I do it in order and I go up from a small until I get to the larger size, it's going to be less chipping. It's going to give you a much better hole to go through, and that's going to make this more secure. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I think we're only going to do 3, so I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to leave the real small one out. So I'm going to do 3 different holes to go through this, and then I'll give you guys a try if you like, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I need to do is I need to find the center of this square. Anybody remember or know how to find the center real quick? It's a real easy way to find the center of a square or a rectangle. Anybody know? Anybody? Exactly. You could measure it. You could absolutely measure it. But it's quicker without. I don't even need to measure if I use diagonal. So you just take anything. This doesn't even, I'm not even going to use the edge that has numbers on it. And all she just said is to just put it right on the edge of the diagonals, just like that. I need it near the center, so I'm going to make a small mark near the center. And then I turn it to the other diagonals like that. And where this now intersects, that is the exact center of that. See how that works? And it doesn't work sometimes, it works all the time. I don't even need to measure, I don't even care what size this is. Because you know you got to do a couple of things. You got to figure out what the size this is and then take it half of it, and you know what I mean? So that's a real nice quick way to do that. Okay? I certainly could measure if I wanted to though. You're looking at here, you can't really find it anywhere. I just built it. It's called a jig. It's just something you use to build things. It's just a couple of pieces of wood up there so that when I drill through, when my drill bit comes through, it has space. It just has space. I don't want to drill into the wood. I just want to have it lifted up a little bit. That's all that is. Okay? So this is called an awl. It's just a point. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little mark at that point. It just makes a little bit of a hole, and it's actually just going to help my bit stay right there and not move over. I want it in the center. It's going to help it not move over. So I'm going to take the smallest bit. I'm going to start with here. This, I would say, is probably a 3/8. So I'm going to start with a 3/8. Then I'm going to go to a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to go to the 1. When you are doing this, I'm going to wear glasses, so these are my safety glasses. You should have safety glasses on. You should probably have gloves on. It has never happened to me, but you certainly could have a piece of stone that jumped up and hit you in the eye. So the biggest thing here, if I want a hole that's going to go straight through and I'm worried about my pole being vertical, I don't want to drill a hole like that either. So I want to try, as I'm doing this, to keep the bit as vertical as I can. I try to do that by going over top of it like this. So in this case, I'm going to go over top of it, and I'm actually pushing down as well. okay?
If you're enjoying this tutorial, hit that like button. It does help my channel out a ton, and it is a super small free way to show your support. Thank you, and let's get back to the tutorial.
When you use regular stuff in your bits and you're drilling through wood, you don't need as much pressure. It just kind of grabs it and it just goes. These don't work that way. A lot of times when people drill concrete, they have an impact drill, which actually goes up and down slightly and turns, and that takes away from you having to push on it. But in this case, I don't have that right here, so I'm just going to lean on it. Somebody want to see what this feels like? And finish the hole? Might have to finagle it a little bit, but I have a feeling it's going to be beautiful. See that? You also want to make sure it has a little bit of room, and because I need to make sure that I get it vertical, okay? So that worked out real well. Now you could probably get away with just putting 2 pieces of tape, but as my wife will continuously tell you, if I need 3 knots in something, I put 4. So I'm going to use 3 pieces of tape, and you won't have a very flat surface here. So I'm just going to make sure that's down. All I'm doing, I'm covering up the hole. So I'm going to go that way, I'm going to go that way, and then I'm going to do a diagonal to have my 3. So now all we've really done with that tape is we've provided a space for it, so when I put the glue in the top, it's not going to spill out all over the bottom of it. And it dries quick enough that it doesn't melt it like I was worried about, doesn't do any of that. It was going to be strong enough to hold this stuff, but it works. I can tell you that the closer the hole is to the size of the pole you're putting in, the better it's going to work. Because if it's a bigger hole and you have to use more glue and there's a lot more, you know, that glue is just like rubber, so the pole is going to kind of move a little bit. The closer your pole is to the size of that hole, the better off you're going to be and the more stable it's going to be. So this is called a torpedo level. Levels come in all kind of sizes. You can get like a 3-foot one. Masonry people use one that's like 7 foot long. This is for smaller jobs. It's called a torpedo level. I can get a torpedo level that costs maybe $8. Plastic does the same thing. All I'm going to be worried about is that bubble right there. If you've never used one of these, there's a bubble in that liquid that's floating around. There's 2 black lines. I need the bubble centered within those 2 black lines. That's going to tell me I have the right position. I spent $20 for this one because this one is magnetic. And it's going to help me do what I have to do. I don't have to have a magnetic one. But because I know I'm using metal every time I'm doing this, this is going to help me. I'm going to show you how it's going to help me. Because with this one right here, I get it in like that, and then I can even push this down on there. And once I get this set, it actually helps to hold it in place for me. The plastic one, when I let go of that, is just going to fall and tumble all over the place. It's worth spending the extra money. Now, if I'm just working with wood, I don't need a magnetic level, do I? So for the right job, I have the right tool. So what we're gonna do, we obviously need to fill this thing up with glue, but right now I just need you to understand there's 2 positions that make this perfectly. I'm using the word level, the technical term is plumb. When you deal with vertical, going straight up and down, the technical term is plumb. A lot of people use them interchangeably. Level is horizontal and vertical is plumb, okay? This could be off in 2 directions. It could be off this way, but it could also be off going forward or backwards. So I need to check and make sure that it's perfect this way, and then I need to turn the level this way and check to make sure it's right that way. So I've got to do it in 2 directions, that direction and that direction, to make sure that it's right. Craft glue gun. This is a little bit bigger than a regular hobby one that you might already have, but most of them are like 20 to 40 watts. What that watts means, it means how quick does it melt that glue. Okay? So I'm finding that is not that big of a hole. But I'm telling you that with this glue gun right here, it takes forever for me to get it. And what is the concern or the worry? It's already starting to dry at the bottom as I'm filling it up. I need to get that glue in there as quick as I can and get the pole in there properly. So Mark doesn't use a 60 watt gun, but a 220 watt gun. that costs much more money than that glue gun right there.
How much did it cost, Mark?
I don't have any idea. I think you can find it on Amazon for 100 and something. You're going to be there forever. That's my whole point. When I was doing this before I bought this, I literally plugged in 3 glue guns to get this done. Okay?
What's the name brand of that?
This is Shore Bonder. That's also a Shore Bonder as well. This is a Shore Bonder 220. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and fill this up. If you guys want to come up here, you can. It'd probably be easier to see everything. Now, notice when you do this, you normally just squeeze the trigger, right? I'm gonna squeeze the trigger and I'm gonna push this glue stick in at the same time because this thing is so hot up here. So now, doing so, you're gonna continuously squeeze and I'm pushing this in here. Yeah, I am gonna get workman's comp. And it's now getting hard to do because it's not melted inside of there. So now I really gotta squeeze this thing. All right, so we're almost there. No, I got it up here. But as you can see, there's a lot of glue, right? You might not think there's a lot of glue going in there, but it's a lot of glue going in there. All right, you can actually, don't worry about overflowing this because you really can't overflow it or it's not gonna be a problem. So get the glue in there like that. We're good now. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the pipe, put the pipe in. Make sure that the pipe, when you put it in, goes all the way down to the bottom. Okay? All the way to the bottom. And then get this on there real quick. So there's my bubble. See it here? So I need to have it in between those 2 lines. So I'm gonna give it a little bit at that location, just a little bit. Then I'm gonna move it around this way, remember, and I can slide this around.
And that's making sure that it's straight.
Yep, in both directions. It's not supposed to be off in either direction. Okay? And again, once it kind of stabilizes, this particular level helps to hold that in place. So I'm gonna just check it again, and then we can basically just kind of leave it to sit. One of the last things that I do is I run another bead of glue around the whole thing on the top, because when I shove that in there, it actually takes the glue with it, so there's none around the top.